sure you have heard cybersecurity certificates are not worth it at all, and I'm also sure you've heard cybersecurity certificates are really worth it. Well, in this video, I'm gonna go over 5 reasons why they are worth it and 5 reasons why cybersecurity certificates are not worth it. And that is so that you can form your own opinion. So stay to the end of the video and I'll be going over some tips on how you can successfully find a job with or without cybersecurity certificates. I do have timestamps below, so check those out. Cybersecurity certificates do not mean that you're competent in something. It just means that you have the broad concept. I think people oftentimes confuse credentials with being competent. Those are 2 very different things. The second one is the more entry level you are in cybersecurity, the more cybersecurity certificates are going to matter. For instance, if you have like 5 years of experience and you get CompTIA Security Plus, it's not going to make a difference. But if you have 6 months of experience and you get the CompTIA Security Plus cybersecurity certification, it will actually help you out a lot. So always make sure to factor that in. A lot of times you must gain a cybersecurity certification for regulatory and compliance reasons. In that case, the certificate is very valuable to you. So let's get into the video. So why are cybersecurity certificates worth it? And the first reason is that they teach you the foundations really well. If you're an entry-level person to cybersecurity and you're trying to learn cybersecurity foundations, then it can be a little bit difficult to navigate internet on this free information and trying to piece things together. That's where I think cybersecurity certifications really come in handy because they teach you the foundations. For instance, the CompTIA Security Plus, a great certificate to start with if you're new to cybersecurity, is really good for teaching you foundations and giving you a laser focus on what you should be focusing on, along with tons of training material to achieve that goal. The second reason that cybersecurity certifications are definitely worth it is for compliance reasons. A lot of contracts and even the DoD 8570 require their personnel to have a cybersecurity certificate just so they know that who they're hiring have just a slight idea of what's going on. Maybe not a large idea, but a little bit. If we look at this job description, it actually puts what is required for the contract, these cues. So it looks like at least 1 staff must possess an ITIL certification, 1 must have a CISP, 1 must have like a certified Scrum Master. Now, 1 person doesn't need to have all of these, but as a whole, as a team, they do have like quotas they have to meet with people with certain certifications. And always keep that in mind, is that the certifications can be a negotiating tool if this contract has those compliance requirements. You may not always know, but it can give you an upper hand when you're going to go look for a job. My next reason I believe cybersecurity certifications are definitely worth it is that it validates knowledge. What I mean by that is that it gives you a benchmark that you do know enough to pass the test. Now, you may not be a rock star, but again, most people aren't rock stars when they're first beginning. So if you're entry level or even mid-level and you get a certificate, it really does show that you do know the base concepts and knowledge that you need to succeed, and you'll be able to pick up more knowledge quickly. And I think people undervalue this. I think it's because some people take shortcuts. Don't take shortcuts, especially if you're learning the cybersecurity basics, because it will come back to haunt you later on in life. You just don't want that to happen. The next reason, and a really important reason why I believe cybersecurity certifications are worth it, is that human resources loves certifications along with the applicant tracking system. I have a video on why you won't get hired in cybersecurity if you check that out, but human resources is the gatekeeper of these jobs, and they love cybersecurity degrees, they love cybersecurity certificates, they love paper tigers, they just love it. And there are some certificates that are very expensive and are entry level, but recruiters just absolutely love them because the branding is so good. Now, whether or not you agree with this is like your own thing. However, this does exist. If you look good on paper, human resources will like you and you're more likely to get an interview. I think people overlook that aspect. Like, looking good on paper is somewhat important, but so is actually having practical skills and experience. but that'll be at the end of the video, and I'll go over some ways that you can make yourself different than the rest of the crowd. That is up to you, whether or not you want to go after these really popular cybersecurity certifications that cost a lot of money and may or may not teach you what you need to know, but look great to human resources. I'm not here to judge. The next one, and I think kind of an overlooked one, is the sense of accomplishment of achieving something. And if you get the CompTIA Security Plus, it really is an accomplishment. I remember when I got the CompTIA Security Plus, I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, I did it. And it was just great, right? So it was like I studied, I put in the work, and the effort of my work showed off to not only myself, but other people also acknowledged my hard work, and they could see it in a tangible form. So cybersecurity certifications can give you a sense of accomplishment, which I think is worth it in itself, and it can keep you moving and motivated and give you that dopamine hit that you need to continue. Now, my next part of the video is going to be why I think cybersecurity certificates are a complete waste of your time, and these are just some reasons that you can think about and make a decision based on your own experience and what type of person you are. First reason why I think cybersecurity certificates are a total waste of your time is it gives you a false sense of competence and security. It gives a false sense of security to companies that are hiring people with certificates because they think that they're getting highly qualified people, but really certificates teach you the base knowledge. They may or may not be very good at the current job, but you could also make the point that most everything is learned on the job, so do you really need certificates at all? It's debatable. It also gives a false sense of competence to people taking the test. So if you pass the CompTIA Security Plus, that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be competent at your job. And that's because it just teaches you the base knowledge and concepts, and it helps you understand things that are going on when you get your first job, but it won't make you competent at your first job. So even though you have these cybersecurity certificates, I would still not inflate your ego about how competent and great you are until you get on the job and then get really good performance reviews and all of that fun stuff. Next reason why I think cybersecurity certificates are total waste of your time is it actually distracts you from the real learning. And when I say that, I mean it does. So instead of studying like the most up-to-date techniques on like ethical hacking, you're over here studying outdated techniques that will never be used in order to pass this exam just so you can get your first job when you could actually have been building your career branding. You could have been creating cool up-to-date projects, you could have been networking and all of that fun stuff, but instead you're focusing on these outdated concepts. And a lot of certificates do have outdated concepts and you're learning old stuff, which goes into my next reason is that a lot of it is outdated and you're learning the wrong thing with these cybersecurity certificates. A lot of the material you're gaining, you may have to unlearn and learn new techniques with them. So that's kind of the downside of the industry, especially with popular certifications on the market for cybersecurity. My next reason why cybersecurity certificates are a total waste of your time is that they're overpriced. A lot of these certificates, for instance, I wanted to get my CISSP and it cost around $800 for one try. And if I fail, I have to pay another $800 and then another $800, plus I have to pay like $900 for their training. And so this could add up to a lot and it puts a lot of pressure on you. So when you're taking a certification, you really want to factor in the return of investment on the cert. So if it's an entry-level cert and they charge you $100 to apply and then another $1,000 for the certificate, that may or may not be worth it depending on what you want to learn, but always look at alternatives. I've also seen some basic ones by fancy names for $2,500. Please don't pay $2,500 for an entry-level certificate. Unless you are like using the GI Bill and you're actually not paying for it, then go ahead and take it. Entry-level certificates, honestly, I would be wary of paying too much because I'm sure there's a great cheaper alternative that you may or may not know about, but just do a little bit more research. The next reason why I think cybersecurity certificates are totally useless is that they can be an overkill of information. When you get your first entry-level cybersecurity job, you really don't need to know everything. Like you may actually just provisioning and deprovisioning accounts, or you could just be doing some really basic tasks. I spent like $2,000 on this cert, so you could just be doing basic menial tasks that most everybody starts out in the cybersecurity and IT career field. You don't need to know everything there is about cybersecurity to succeed at your job. Most jobs are going to be doing like 2 or 3 functions. You're not going to be like calling the shots or making decisions in the beginning. You're probably not going to be doing the most exciting work. Sorry, especially if you're entry level. My last part to this, are cybersecurity certificates are worth it, is how to land a job with a certificate. So the golden formula to gaining a job is experience and practical skills plus some paper items, such as a degree or a certificate. And you don't need a job to gain practical skills or experience. If you have your own experience that you made, a certificate can definitely validate your own experience so people don't think you're lying. But your resume needs to be good and reflect this experience and practical skills. You can have the Security Plus on here, but if you don't have any practical skills to go along with the Security Plus, it may be a little bit harder for you to gain a job. It's really just about inventorying your skills. I do have a free resume course below, and I will be going over how to inventory your skills and then translate them into IT. Sign up for my email list and you'll be getting that shortly. The next one is you need to build experience. I do have a video on 10 ways to gain experience in the cybersecurity field. A good example of this is the CyberWalk Home Lab project, and how he has an entire website and he has videos going over his project. You want it to be big, beautiful, and just over the top, just because it will impress human resources. Make sure you have good grammar. Now don't copy his, but create your own project and then do detailed documentation on it. The next way that you can also get a job, and that is online branding. And online branding, I mean your LinkedIn, I mean your Twitter, which I'm terrible at. I don't like Twitter. Discord servers, creating a blog, really getting involved with the community. And this really can help you land a job in cybersecurity. Discussion with people also gives you better context of what is going on in the field and keeps you up to date, because it's really important in cybersecurity. And I do have a resume link below that you can sign up for. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And I have tons of other videos on cybersecurity certificates and degrees, and how to get started in cybersecurity. So go check those out, and I will see you then. Bye.